Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the WeCrochet Facebook page and the WeCrochet YouTube channel. We are excited to have you guys here. We have a new special guest this week and a new make-along, or crochet along, I should say, that I'm super excited to get to share with you about today. And we've got lots to talk about. So as you come in, go ahead and say hello. Let me know that you're here, that you can hear me, what you're working on, what it's like around you. We are getting a snowstorm today. Here we are in March and we're getting a snowstorm. So who knows what's going on with this weather? I thought we were like past winter, going into spring, but maybe not. So hello, we have somebody from Grand Island, New York. Oh, Amigurumi is really intimidating. So we'll talk about that in just a moment. Good morning, Chris. Great to see you, or virtually see you. But I do want to, before we jump into today's topic, I want to make sure that you guys all know about the fact that over on the website, we have 15 to 25% off our Wool of the Andes yarn, which you can go ahead and you can see that right there on the homepage. And we have 30% off our Caspian hooks. So you can head on over to the website. You can grab those great deals right now while they're going on. And you can use the great yarns for a lot of the stuff that we're talking about coming up. The project today uses a different yarn, but that's okay. We're very excited to chat about it. So today I have a special guest. I have Ashley Parker from the Loopy Lamb, and she is an amazing amigurumi designer. She designs other things. We have her working on other things for us too, but most known for her amigurumi. And we have a ton of it over on our website. So you can go ahead over there and check it out. We'll be putting links into the chat as well so that you can find it. But you're going to find some really adorable amigurumi items, some ornaments, some all kinds of different things that Ashley has created. So it looks like we have a question about the difference between Caspian hooks. It's actually the color that changes. We have the wood hook series, Caspian is part of it, and we just have a couple different names for them because they're different colors of the wood that we have. So you can go on over to the website, check out which color you like best, and then you can look for the sales on that specific color when they show up. So I'm going to bring Ashley in here as you guys are still coming in. Hello, hello. Hi,
Hello.
Ashley.
Thanks for having me, Katie.
It is so great to have you here this morning. I love all the amigurumi that you do. I will admit I am on the side of the person who said it's a little intimidating. I don't know that it's intimidating, but for me, I tend to say if it's not a simple, straightforward amigurumi pattern and I have to do a lot of fiddling with it, I don't know, it's not always up my alley. But I will say that all of the patterns that you have done for us so far have been pretty straightforward in the fact that it's simple shapes that you're putting together. It's not a ton of like seaming things in different ways to make your shapes. You know, you're making your shapes and putting them together. So it makes it a lot easier to come up with your final piece, which I
Yeah.
totally appreciate.
And a lot of my designs, I actually designed to minimize sewing where possible because that's a really common complaint is the seaming. And to be honest, I'm not a fan either. So why not make it easier for everybody and just try to eliminate it where I can?
Awesome. Before we keep chatting, though, I do want to mention Kelly is putting in links for us, and she just went and put in Ashley's showcase, which is a special landing page over on our pattern section of the website that has all of Ashley's patterns right there on one page for you. So you can go check out all of the patterns that she has currently on our site, and you'll be able to check out her website as well. We'll give you a link to that in just a minute. Where she has a lot of other things as well to chat about. So Ashley, why don't you give us a little bit of information about yourself? Like when you started crocheting, how did you learn? And is amigurumi your favorite thing to make? Or is it just what you can see in your brain the most that you design it?
That's a tough question. So I guess I'll start with the easy part is that I'm Canadian. I'm a mom of two, and I've been doing this professionally for probably about 3 years now. I learned to crochet as an adult after having my daughter because I had I had really bad postpartum depression after having my kids. And so my doctor recommended getting a hobby and doing something with my hands. And so I started with loom knitting. And then I found that that was helping, but it wasn't challenging me enough to kind of like really help. So I took on crochet and I went to take a Michael's class with my aunt. And although I'd tried off and on since I was a kid, I just couldn't get it. And went to Michael's and something just clicked that day. And I became this addict. I was at the library all the time, leaving with all their books. They all thought I was crazy. But then I started designing my own patterns relatively soon after that. Amigurumi is one of my favorite things to make, but I enjoy making pretty much anything, whatever kind of comes to mind. I find that my audience enjoys the amigurumi the most, so I do make that the most. But I do like making pretty much anything. As long as I've got yarn on the hook, I'm happy.
I can totally relate to that. It's definitely like an addiction
Yes.
anymore, but in a good way, an addiction. Like it is that stress reliever. It is that way to kind of clear your mind and everything else. So totally understand that. I've never gotten into the design part. I just like to read other people's patterns. So thank you for making awesome patterns for all of us to go ahead and check out. But we are here today to talk about a very special event that you have going on. I will apologize to everybody. The event has already started, but we're not that far into it. So you can still go ahead and catch up. And this is a totally unique crochet along. I've never heard of anything like this before. It is such an amazing idea and so great to participate in, especially if you have kids. Doesn't have to just be for kids. It could be for anybody who would enjoy it. But so basically, Ashley, I'll give a little description and you can kind of fill in all the gaps.
Okay.
So she has a crochet along that you're making a doll, and then you're making all of these accessories to go with it. And the plan is to put these accessories in an advent calendar that you can gift to somebody for Advent this Christmas. So maybe Kelly, go ahead and put the link in for the blog post all about this, so people can go and they can start back from the beginning, and you can catch up fairly quickly if you go ahead and work on it. The patterns are coming out about every other week, so you do have some time in between, so you're not like totally behind. But let's show them the Advent box that you kind of put together first.
So I came up with this idea because I had bought my kids some advent calendars and I was talking to my aunt about it, who also crochets. And I said, you know what, I'd really like to make them something that has more meaning, that's not just going to end up in the trash. So my daughter loves dolls. And I thought, wouldn't it be fun to make a doll that you create enough accessories and toys for it to fill an advent calendar? And so this is the advent calendar I created. And a lot of people have come up with really fun configurations. I know one of them put theirs in a Christmas tree shape. And I do have YouTube tutorials for all of my patterns for the crochet along, including this, to show you how to make them. It's been a lot of fun so far, and everything is small enough to fit in these little boxes. You can either make the boxes yourself or you can buy them on Amazon. I think it was $15 for me to get all these boxes.
So the true question is, if you're making this with your daughter in mind, does she know all the pieces you're making, or is she going to get this as an advent calendar this year?
She's going to get it as an advent calendar. Because I've made multiple dolls, I do have more than one box. So I'm going to be donating some of them when I'm done with them to, children that might not have anything else at Christmas, so they can enjoy something fun as well. But now my daughter has seen the dolls, but she doesn't know it's going into an advent calendar or anything like that. I keep them all hidden in here.
Oh, that's so exciting. So let's talk about the yarn that is needed for this project. So you're using Brava worsted, and they're going to need how many colors for this project?
I'd say on average, like probably between 11 to 13 at the most. Right now I've used 11. I'm trying to cap it at that, but I have one more thing that I think needs maybe 2 more colors just to make it stand out, because it's going to be a lot of fun. But every time, all of the supplies are listed on the site, and as we continue, I'll be updating that to let people know what else they need. But for the most part, you just need Brava and stuffing and enough safety eyes and some embroidery thread.
Awesome. So let's talk about the dolls. I know you have them there with you, so if you want to show us. So is this pattern something that they have to go and purchase separately? Is this part of the crochet along? Tell us a little bit more about the dolls specifically.
Okay, so the dolls are all available on the site. So this is the main doll that we are making, and all of the patterns are going to be available on the site, with the exception of if you buy, there's a PDF bundle that will include a few extras that are not available on the site, or if you want to work ahead, because there's a few makers that they don't have the time or don't want to work at the same pace everybody else is, so they want to work ahead. So they buy the PDF and they can get that. And like in the PDF right now, there's this extra hair cap that's not available on the site. And I've worked on a few extras that will be available in the bundle as it's updated throughout the year.
Awesome. And so just so everybody kind of thinks about this too, you're going to need one color for your hair color,
Mhm.
one color for the skin color, and then the rest of the colors are going to be whatever you want to wear for the doll, as in shirts, pants, and accessories. And I do want to call out that we are working on including more colors in our Brava collection that are slowly trickling out to give us more of a skin tone option and hair color option as well. So
That's
please keep your
awesome.
eyes posted there as we continue to add some more colors there to kind of fill in the whole rainbow that we're really needing to make projects like this. So go ahead and pick those two colors, and then the rest are really up to you and what you want to do. So you can go and purchase the PDF, and you're saying in the PDF, you'll get all the patterns so you can kind of work on it at your own pace. Or you can join in about every 2 weeks or every other week to get the patterns over on your website. Is there another place that they should be following along with you to make sure that they know when the new pattern is coming out?
They can either join my mailing list, or follow me on social media, because I do post announcements when the posts are live on the blog. And every Friday, email my audience to let them know what's new on the blog, as well as when these things are live for the crochet along.
That's awesome. I am so excited about this. I don't know about everybody else that's here. Oh, here's a question. Let's bring this one up. So the question is, would it work with cotton yarn as well? So maybe you could talk about that for this particular project and about amigurumi in general,
Of course.
cotton versus acrylic for amigurumi.
So for most amigurumi projects, you can use whatever yarn you'd like. My only caution is when you are doing a project like this, is that you are capable of matching the gauge that's given in the pattern. Because for this doll, for instance, this is a hair cap that's placed on top of the doll's head. So if you're not matching gauge, or you don't use a consistent tension throughout your doll, then you might get frustrated because your hair cap might not fit. But overall, you can use any sort of yarn that you'd prefer for the project. Like I said, just make sure that you use a consistent tension throughout. And in terms of acrylic versus cotton, cotton does tend to produce a stiffer doll, but it also is harder on your hands. I personally like the acrylic because I've found that it's a little more resistant. In my experience, anyways, depends on how hard your kids are on the dolls. But I just personally like acrylic for ease of use, cost, and durability as well.
Awesome. So over on our website, we do have kind of two cotton options. Is there one that you would suggest between like Dishy and our comfy worsted?
I love, love, love the Dishy. Like, you might be able to see, I have the entire line up here that I bought because I love it so much. Um, I would recommend the Dishy cotton, and I like the comfy for garments, and like I've used it for garments before.
Perfect. We do have another question here, asking about, is this something good for a beginner, or how challenging is this going to be for a beginner? I know you did say you have videos, so I'm assuming you're going to say it's okay for beginners because you'll be there to walk them through, but go ahead and let's answer that question.
So for this project, I kept in mind all skill levels, and I tried to make it as accessible to everybody as possible. And that's why I have these step-by-step videos. During the videos, like, I would literally make it from start to finish, the entire project. And I'm going to share with you tips on how to make it better, or how to get the best finish, and different techniques that you can use to make it easier for you. So if you are a beginner, it's absolutely accessible. We've got the videos, and I've had a couple of people who have said that they couldn't read patterns at the beginning of the crochet along, and what they've done is they've taken the video and done it side by side with the written pattern, and it's helped them actually to understand the written pattern better, and given them a little bit more confidence in that skill.
Yeah, I always find that super helpful too, to take a written pattern and a video, and even sometimes, and maybe not in Amigurumi, but a chart too, and kind of pairing all 3 of them together, you get the best understanding. At least that's my opinion and how it's happened for me, to be able to do it. We have another comment here about how cute the doll is.
Thank
The
you so
doll is
much.
really cute, and you did say you can go and get that doll pattern even if you don't wanna do the Advent collection. You can get the doll by itself as a
Yeah.
standalone and just make the doll if you want to.
Yes, and like even if you didn't want even the bundle with all the clothes, you just wanted the doll, who's her name is Advent and Amy, by the way. You can get the pattern with just the first outfit, a pair of shoes. Actually, this one's wearing shoes, and the doll, all in a PDF. But it is available on the website as well, just on page, because they're released at separate times.
Got it. That's wonderful. So yeah, you can go ahead and grab the doll if you want to, or you can join in on the Advent fun. So since we were talking about beginners, can you give like 1 or 2 tips, or maybe not tips, but things people need to think about before they get started on their amigurumi journey if this is the very first project they're going to do?
The biggest thing that I tell new makers, just in general, not even just with amigurumi, is don't compare yourself. Just stop right there. Stop before it starts, because like we have, and you can see this even in my Facebook group, we've got people who are at different skill levels and they're all making dolls. And although they're all using the same pattern, maker A might choose to do something slightly different, or maker B might have struggled with something and then, kind of fixed it up to make it, to get where they needed to be to get it done. So they all are slightly different, and that's great. That's the journey that we're on. Nobody's perfect. We're all different, and just don't compare yourself, because it's just you could be disappointed. Just compare yourself to yourself is like what I like to say. Look at where you started and look at your next project, and always try to be improving from that.
Exactly. I love that. That's a great tip for just anybody. We do have a comment question here about the doll being much bigger than expected, and will she fit in the boxes you showed? I don't think the doll is supposed to be fitting in the boxes. It's just the accessories you're making. So if you hold the doll up again for us, she does have a shirt and a skirt on there. So you're going to be taking off that shirt and skirt to put on a different outfit, and the outfit is what's going to go in the box. Is that
Right.
correct?
Yeah. So, and how I envisioned it, and everybody can do this their own way. You don't have to do it this way, but what I'm going to do with my daughter is I'm going to give her just the doll on the first day with the box, and then she can open box number 1 and she'll get an outfit piece, and then every day throughout the month she'll get a different piece. So like the first day she'll get a shirt, and then the next day she'll get a skirt, and then the next day she gets shoes, and by day 3 she's got a whole outfit already. And then as the month progresses, she gets more and more, and she'll have an entire wardrobe of toys and accessories and garments for her doll to play with.
Yeah, I love that so much. I mean, I think back to like the American Girl dolls that I had growing up, and I know my nieces are looking into those too, and they're so expensive. And when
Yeah.
you have a doll, like you want to have all the different outfits. So I love this idea that not only is it something you make with your hands, but it can be affordable, and you can continue to build the wardrobe and collection for this doll, with all the other patterns that are out there. So that is so exciting as well.
And I
Um,
will note that on my website, I have multiple dolls, and they all have removable clothing, and they all fit the other dolls. So if you
Perfect.
wanted to substitute one of those in or add on to the wardrobe, those are all available on the blog as well.
Awesome. And I guess we should say too that a lot of times in amigurumi, it'll say like, oh, gauge isn't as important. Just make sure like your stuffing doesn't pop through. Gauge is going to be a little bit more important in this case because you are making clothing items to fit the doll.
Yes.
No, it's not clothing for a person, but it still has to be on gauge enough that it's not going to fall off the doll or be so tight that you can't get it on. So just keep that in mind, that you do need to pay attention to your gauge as you kind of work through those pieces.
Yeah. And then what I tell makers is like, even if you're not matching my gauge, fine. That's totally fine. But match your own gauge. Be consistent throughout the project, and then it should fit your doll without issue.
Right.
But if your gauge changes from day to day, then you're going to have problems. So just make sure that you're checking it before you start.
And sometimes that happens when I make a garment. I have to check multiple times while making it because gauge will change depending on your attitude or how your day went.
Yeah. I once made a sweater. I waited a year. I got stuck on Sleeve Island. I waited a year and then I didn't check my gauge because I was like, it's fine. The sleeve did not fit. And I just wasted hours of my time.
Yep. So we have a comment here, and let's see what you think here. Talking again about the acrylic and cotton, that cotton can look really great if you untwist it to make single-stranded for a cute hair look. Is that something possible to do with yours? I know a lot of amigurumi will kind of add the hair in strands at the end, but yours is a different type of hair in the sense that it's basically like making a hat for the doll that is the hair piece that you're sticking on and then adding on like the pigtails or ponytails or whatever else that goes with it. So any suggestions there, or if it's going to work for this pattern in that manner?
She could try it. I don't personally like to mix fibers within a project like this because they can have different outcomes depending on your tension or your gauge. So you can try it. And by all means, if you wanted to do the basic hair cap and attach the strands, we have actually had people do that with this pattern. They've used the same yarn though, because using the same yarn throughout will also help with the tension, because even if your tension varies even like a little bit, it's going to help you in that it's probably still going to fit. But if you vary the yarns that you're using and you vary the fibers you're using, you could potentially run into more issues than you're anticipating.
Right. We got another comment. This is a fantastic idea. I hope you guys are all excited about this.
Thank you
As
so much.
soon as Ashley told me, I was like, yes, let's get on Facebook. Let's tell everybody. I love it so much. So I hope everybody is going to be participating. Here's a great idea to challenge you. It would be awesome if you could make the same outfits to fit little girls as well.
That would be fun. I just actually recently published a fur vest pattern, and so I am getting into more garments, but we'll have to see if I can find testers to do both.
Maybe next year. That'll be
Yeah,
next
maybe
year's
next year.
Advent inclusion. One special outfit to match one of them. So again, we had another comment here about this is such an amazing idea. So cool for my granddaughter. It really is a great idea. And just so if you're into making amigurumi, you love this idea, you don't have a grandchild, think about maybe donating it to a school or a preschool or your church or another organization like that, or even different hospitals might take things like this where kids have to be there over the Christmas holidays and things like that. There's a lot of opportunities that you could still use your talents to make this and gift it to somebody else who might be less fortunate. So don't just think you only have to make it if you have a granddaughter. Also consider other places. I know Ashley was saying that as she's making all this, there's so many different versions that she's going to be donating a couple boxes as well as she finishes it up. So that's also an awesome idea of what you could do. And we love it. Announcement time! We have a giveaway. We are giving away 9 balls of Brava to one lucky winner. So you could pick any 9 colors that you want to make your project. You could do your skin color, your hair color, and all of your other accessory colors if you want, or however you want to pick it. And you'll also be getting a tote bag. All you need to do is leave one comment over here on Facebook in the chat, and we'll be picking a winner tomorrow. You only need one comment, though, because the tool that we use will eliminate duplicate comments. And so leave a comment. You'll be entered to win 9 balls of Brava worsted so that you can join along with Ashley and make along the fun. Yeah, I just saw this comment up here. I got a little distracted, sorry. How boys love playing with dolls too. Your brothers did, exactly. Ashley and I were talking about this before, about maybe next year it'll be a boy doll instead of a girl doll, because there are a lot of options out there for boys as well. We got to start
Actually, I have a boy doll too.
Yes, she does have a boy doll over on her website, so you could do that. It's just not the advent of a different outfit for every day or accessories, but you could get started with a boy doll, and then maybe next year we'll have a boy advent. We'll see how that goes. But so go ahead and put a comment in here, either where you're watching from, if you're going to be joining, if you've already started joining, or whatever else that you can be entered to win. And I'm giving you a heads up that over on Instagram later today, we have a separate giveaway that you can enter for as well. So be sure to check out our Instagram page later today for that giveaway, which is going to run all the way through the weekend. So that one's a little bit longer that you can go and enter over there. So giving away a lot of stuff, a lot of yarn is always exciting. So again, remember, just one comment is needed. It has to be on Facebook in the comments. We'll pick a winner tomorrow afternoon, and Kelly will reach out to you to go ahead and get your information. Sorry, I love this comment. I don't need any more projects. This looks awesome. I feel like we're always in that boat.
Yeah.
I never really need another project, but here's a shiny new one that I think I'm going to start anyway.
Well, it's just like you never need any more yarn, but
Yeah. Oh, here's a good question about the giveaway. Is it only open to US residents? The answer is no. It is open to US, UK, Canada, and Australia. So any of the places that we ship to from the website, that's who the giveaway is open to. If you don't fall into one of those, I apologize, but we can only ship to what we ship to from the website. Excuse me, let me grab a quick drink here. I'm getting over a cold here, guys, trying not to cough too much. So thank you so much, Ashley, for joining us today. I'm super excited about this project. I hope everybody else is super excited, and they're heading out. This is a great stash busting project as well, because you can use any color. You don't have to have a ton of yarn to be able to make these little pieces. You're going to need more for the doll, obviously, because it's bigger, but the accessories, you don't need a full ball of Brava to go ahead and do it. If you have a half a ball, go ahead and make your projects. Great stash busting as well. Question about shipping address. Yes, you don't have to actually live in one of those places, but that's the only place we can ship to. So if you have a friend or family member who lives in one of those areas that can then ship it along to you, we can do that, but that's just where we can ship to. So that's how that works. Again, thank you so much for joining me, Ashley. Thank you to everybody who's here today for joining us. I hope you will join in this make along, and hopefully you will join me again next week when we have another special guest on 12:30 p.m. Eastern, 9:30 a.m. Pacific. We'll be back here and we'll see you then. Thanks so much for joining us, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of